Welcome to the Tunepact podcast. I'm your host, the punk rock pop, Lee Pierce. And today's episode, we're going to be talking about building a loyal and local following. And today we're lucky enough to have Beverly Rage from Beverly Rage and the Drinks. Beverly, thanks for coming on. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and the band?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. So my name is Bev. I am the singer, guitarist, and main songwriter of Beverage and the Drinks, which is a queer punk rock band based in Chicago. We've been around for about 9 years, and we have released quite a few albums, a few EPs. I've played hundreds of shows, toured the country. And one thing that is very unique about us is that I, on stage, am usually a drag queen. So right now, when you're viewing this podcast on YouTube, it may not look like that, but you can see my wigs behind me here. And I've been a drag queen for about 15 years and started this punk rock band kind of based around that almost a decade ago.
Well, and you're talking about your band in Chicago, and you're not just a punk band in Chicago. What brought your band to my attention was you guys were recently voted best punk rock band in Chicago, and not just voted that, but it was the Chicago Reader, which is an arts and entertainment newspaper. And to give everybody a little bit more information about that, it's a print paper, a bi-weekly that still has circulation of over 60,000. And it's the arts and entertainment paper. See, I've done freelance for 20, 30 years even, dailies, weeklies and stuff. And for a print paper nowadays still have a circulation of 60,000 is incredible. And it's the arts and entertainment paper. So the people that are voting for your band to be the best punk band in Chicago are the ones that matter. They're the artists. They're the fans. I mean, you got voted best punk band in Chicago by a jury of your peers. And congratulations. It's well deserved. And that's why I wanted to bring you on, because you clearly know a lot about building a local following. And you're in Chicago, so a local following is a little different than some other areas. But first of all, like I said, congratulations on that. How'd that feel when you guys first heard about that?
Yeah, thank you. That's really nice for you to bring that up. So the Chicago Reader thing, it's been a huge honor for us to have won that. We won Best Punk Band and we came runner-up for Best Rock Band in Chicago, which is a huge honor for a niche queer drag queen fronted punk rock band, which is just kind of like a strange thing to win a prize like this, especially with a huge audience voting for it. But like you said, it is an audience of mostly other artists and our peers and people within the arts industry. So it is even more so an honor getting that recognition from them. So it's been really great. We have we've been able to book a little bit bigger shows. We've been able to talk to more people after this has come out, and we're hoping to just capitalize on it a little bit more and just show Chicago and the region and the country why we are the best punk band in Chicago. We put on an incredible show. We've been doing it for years. We have this punk rock ethos that is very unique to us because being queer people, being a drag queen, there is kind of like this link between punk rock and drag that doesn't really exist in other areas of music. So I think that it's a very valid award that we have won in this. And I'm very humble.
Well, and it's well deserved. And please give yourself more credit. Don't call yourself a niche band. Like, I mean, I've been listening to you guys now, and you guys have such a unique sound for you're not just another punk band from Chicago. You're not just another punk band from the Midwest, and not because of who you are or your stage persona. Your sound is very unique. At least nowadays, I hear you guys, or I listen to you guys and I hear the surf riffs. I hear those surf riffs, and not just in songs like Hollywood Beach. You hear that old school surf riffs, and an old guy, and I'm a firm believer that without the Beach Boys, 100% there would have been no Ramones, and without the Ramones, music and life wouldn't be worth living. And
Yeah.
hearing that old fashioned, not pop punk, but it was before punk got too angry, the Ramones, and it was so Beach Boys and surf driven. I mean, I think even Joey Ramone said without the Beach Boys, there wouldn't have been Ramones. And I hear that in your guys' music, and it's so cool. I love that upbeat, those surf riffs. So like, please you're not a niche band. You're the best punk band in Chicago because you're the best punk band in Chicago. Okay, you
Well,
guys
thank
are
you.
awesome, and I'm so happy to have you on today, man. This is awesome.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you. We all have our sound is kind of unique because we all have very different influences that go into making this music. So typically I'll write the kind of like the skeleton of the song in general, and then all of us come together and bring all of our various influences. So a lot of that is like the 60s style rock and roll, or a lot of my influences are in like 80s new wave, and some of that 90s pop punk. That's what I grew up on. But um, we're also trying to evolve our sound quite a bit, and we have been doing so over the years. So our music started out very different than what it is today. And we do have a lot of new music coming out soon that kind of reflects that as well. We have kind of leaned more into like a post-punk type thing these days, and we are a little more angry these days just because of the state of the world and what we have to write about as a band like us existing in this. Um, so yeah, it's been a journey, and I mean, what is music? What is being in a band if you can evolve and change your sound throughout the years? So we try to do that with each record that we put out and make sure that it's interesting and constantly getting different over the years.
Well, yeah, I mean, because as you grow as a person, and even just aging, you become a different person, and your music and your art has to evolve with you, or it's going to become not fun or no longer relevant to you. Let alone your market, your fans, the people you're trying to sell your artwork to, your art to.
Yep.
So, well, and so yeah, you guys, how long have you been around now? You said this band in particular.
Our first show was in 2016, so 9 years. We'll celebrate 10 next year.
Okay, and you've evolved quite a bit. You said not just your look, but your sound. And with doing that I mean, it's local, even though it's Chicago, it's still local. I mean, you've still got a small area that you usually go to, that you work with, where your fans are going to be from. And what did you do to first start building that local loyal fan base that you've got now?
Yeah, so we've been working on building this fan base for years. So it's been 9 years of hard work, playing shows. Um, it's very different now than it was back then, of course. So if you would have asked me this right when we were starting, what are you doing right now to build this local fan base? I would probably have said playing as many shows as we can, or playing the bad shows, playing the good shows. That is not the advice I would give these days, I don't think. But trying to trying to build a fan base really involves being invested in it too. So we were all part of the music scene before we were a band. So we knew people, we cared about it, we wanted to hear good music, and we're all musicians. So we're going out, we're seeing local bands, we're paying for tickets, we're buying their records. Just like be invested in it if you want other people in the local scene to be invested in you. So we played a lot of shows early on. We played some of the bad shows at the bars that didn't pay you or paid you drink tickets. But what I would suggest for bands in 2025, which is very different than 2016, is to make sure that you're not overplaying. Make sure that you are giving people enough time to want to see you again, because there are a lot of bands in Chicago and a lot of bands all over the place that will play every week. And maybe you like playing, but that's not a good way to build an audience. You can build an audience online. You can use social media. You can kind of sell yourself that way. But playing a ton of shows these days, I don't think is the right way to go about doing it.
Well, no, especially if you're trying to build your local audience too, because especially like here in the Midwest, it doesn't matter if it's some small place here in Wisconsin or Chicago where you're at, you're still only going to have a limited amount of venues. And it's like, what's
Yeah.
going on Saturday? Oh, well, so and so's playing, of course. They play every single Saturday at this bar. And nobody
Hmm.
wants to go see the same person because now you're just a house band too. And, then it gets to the point where you're like, oh, they're playing somewhere other than their normal place that they play every week. So, yeah, no, I
Yeah.
see that a lot. I've been in bands that did that. I've went and seen bands that did that. But yeah, no, you're 100% right. Sometimes less is more. And, and that's why you see a lot of the guys have side projects because they want to play every weekend, but they don't want to flood everybody with just one band or one sound, too.
Yeah, and playing shows is fun. Like everybody loves to play a
Mm-hmm.
show, but if you really want to grow your audience, then you need to allow people to miss you and to actually be invested and want to see that show 2 months from now because there isn't anything until then. So that's a really important aspect of it. But if you just want to kind of be a band for fun and don't really and they exist and they are valid and they exist within the scene. If you just want to be a band that plays all the time for the same audience, that's great. Like do it, do your thing. But if you have ambitions to grow and be bigger, then just kind of be a little more strategic about it. That's my advice. And it's worked for us in many ways.
Well, when it comes to booking those gigs, whether it's, one a month or one a week, when it comes to the local shows, what advice do you have for independent artists that are trying to book those local shows and get on the radar of the local venue owners?
Yeah, that's a good question. We here in Chicago, it might be a little different than some other like smaller cities or towns. Chicago, despite it being a huge city, the music scene is still fairly small. We all kind of know each other for the most part. So in order to book something, of course, you have to go through a talent buyer generally at a venue. So you kind of get on their good side. Whenever you're booking shows, I think that it is so incredibly important to just make sure that you're being professional and lay everything out there in the first like 3 sentences on that email because no one wants to read a whole 3 paragraphs about, oh, I started this band in my basement in 2012, blah, blah, blah. No one wants to read that. They don't care. All they want to know is who you are, where you played, how many people you can draw, and maybe kind of like what your niche is. Um, so don't email a talent buyer and just be like, if you have any shows coming up that we would fit on, let us know because they won't let you know. Look at their calendar and be like, do you have an opener or do you have a direct support for this show on this day? And how can we get in touch with the promoter to see if we can put our hats in the ring? Because that's how it works. Oftentimes the talent buyers don't even have a the ability to just put a local band on. Usually they have to like put the band into a pool of other bands that the promoter will choose. Um, so that's my suggestion. Be as professional as possible. Be straight to the point. Sell yourself as best as you can, and just don't be casual about it because they don't care. And if they think of you as just being like really casual or flighty or whatever, they're not gonna care about putting you on something. And there's no reason for them to. If you are just kind of like starting in the scene, take gigs, take whatever you can get and show these bars and promoters that you can bring people and that you can put on a good show and that you're professional. Learn names when you're there, talk to the sound person, and um, if you get a gig at a place and it goes really well, follow up on it. That's really important. So don't just kind of like let that die. Email the talent buyer and say, this is what went really well. Tell the sound person that they did a good job, blah, blah, blah. Because that will go really far and it shows them that they care, that you care about playing there again, as opposed to just emailing again in 3 months saying, hey, can we be on this show? So the follow up is a big, big part of this.
Well, yeah,
industry.
everything you said is you're 100% right. When you with the emails, you don't want to be too vague and you don't want to give too much information. If it's one sentence, they're going to delete it. If it's three paragraphs, they're going to delete it. Be
Yep.
specific. Say, hey, I do have an opener on this show, and then send a link to a YouTube video of you playing with a good crowd, being happy, saying, this is why I think we would be a good fit for this bill.
Yeah.
And then that's people got to remember, like, if you're up there playing, right there's your best free marketing you can get. Everybody's got a damn phone. Somebody's taking video of that. Especially ask your fans online, say, hey, anybody get video of last night's show? Because it really hit last night. And
Yeah.
same thing goes after the show. I had to brought up with another guest on the show here is a great thing if you want venue owners to, because venue owners talk. Video owners talk, and if they don't have a good experience, they're not going to bring you back or suggest you play another club. So a good thing to do is as soon as you get off that stage, I know you're tired, but when you got time, shoot a 30-second video and get that posted online saying, hey, we just wrapped up here. We had a blast. Pictures of the crowd. Venue owners love that. They eat it up because now you're helping promote them. They're definitely going to ask you back again because they're seeing the equivalent of the respect that they were hoping to get, and it's,
Yeah.
you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours.
Yeah, it's a game you have to play sometimes, and that doesn't mean that you have to like suck up to anyone or you have to just kind of play the game in a way that makes you feel icky, but just kind of like mutual respect. And if a show goes well, let them know. If a show doesn't go well or you have a bad experience with a club or a sound person or whatever, I don't know, don't complain about it online, but you can keep that in mind and don't play their game again. Um, know your worth too. We've all played gigs for no money, but eventually don't do that anymore. Like, kind of know your worth and play or ask what you feel like you deserve. And if they don't offer you that or they offer you way less, don't take that gig because you should be respecting yourself in ways. But yeah, it's kind of just like it's an industry. It's professional. Like, be professional. Just make sure that people are feeling like you care about this industry that you are so engaged in, and it does. I mean, this isn't my full-time job, but it pays the bills of the band, and it's really important to make sure that that is still coming in.
Well, yeah, exactly. And that's the thing is when you got to be professional, and that's why like it's so important, especially like I was one of the questions I use. It's a surprise question I usually ask the guests once in a while if I've still got a little extra time left. Is when does marketing end? And for me, one of my like I love being on stage. I love playing in bands. But I'm a people person. I'm a marketing guy. I'm always networking is my life. That's how I got where I am. That's why I get to talk to the people I talk to. Is when I get off that stage, everybody's hyped. They're there because they want to see me in the band. Is get out there and shaking hands, whether it's my fans or it's from the opening band or the band I'm opening for. Because you get out in that crowd, and a lot of the time, music fans are also musicians or they're booking agents or they're venue owners. So always get off that stage when you get done because you just did what you're going to do. That like, this is my product. This is what I can do is get out there and sell. That's your best time. So like they say, strike when the iron's hot, I've probably
Yeah.
booked more gigs in my life the last 30 minutes after a gig than I did all the rest combined.
Yeah, for sure. And if you are, I mean, some people don't like this, but for me, I want to hear from the people that enjoy my music, and I want to talk to people after the show. I'll go to the merch table as soon as we get done playing and stay there the rest of the night just so I can engage with people. And that's what I want to do. I mean, this this band is really special. It's my passion, and it's so ingrained within me to make sure that the message of this band gets out into the world, especially right now, because it's a queer band. We have a voice. We have our rights are being threatened right now directly, and this band is so incredibly important to me that it's kind of ingrained within all aspects of my life. So I never really stopped marketing it because it's so important. Um, and that doesn't stop. That certainly doesn't stop off stage, but right after the gig, right after the show, it's really amped up because people understand that this is important. They heard what we were saying on stage, they saw what we were doing on stage, and that is really the time where you can really get people on your side and want to come to other shows, want to buy merch, want to join your mailing list, whatever it is. They can do all of that immediately or follow doing like something saying like, if you want to support us, but you don't have the financial ability to do so, all you can do is follow us on Instagram, and that is enough. That's what you can do right now. You can follow us on Instagram, share a story with us in it, and that is great. That's promotion for us, and it's incredible when people do it at shows. So it doesn't even have to be financial.
Well, yeah, exactly. Because I mean, got to remember is that artists, their target market, their fans. I'm sorry, I always say target market. I'm like marketing staple. I don't mean to cheapen or anything like that. But the fans, the people that come there to see you because they love you, they love your music, they get it, they relate to it. They can be your best marketing and salespeople in the world. If you spend the time to talk to your fans and get to know them more on a personal level, they connect with you even more so, and they're more apt to share your social media posts. Buy the merch and wear it. And that's the thing is. Free marketing and free publicity is the best kind, and especially when it's coming from people that have the right message and they love what you do, so they love what they're trying to put out there as well by promoting you as well. So yeah, fan interaction is so important. Let them in. I mean, that's hard though. Some people can't do that, and I understand that, and I feel for those people. But if you got the ability, you interact with those fans. Let them know how much you appreciate them, because you wouldn't be up there if it wasn't for them. I mean, you would be, but not for very often.
Yeah. That is very true. So there is a fine line of trying to engage your fans all the time. So I feel confident and comfortable doing it pretty much all the time. I'll talk to anyone. I will answer DMs. I am happy to talk to anyone, but some artists definitely need to put up a boundary and make sure that their life isn't dictated by their fan base. I'm not there yet, obviously, but it is a fine line. You definitely don't have to engage constantly. It's important to take a break from it too, and make sure that you're giving some space to yourself, because we are all people. And make sure that you're engaged. So this is really important, especially for a band like us. So just because I'm a drag queen, because I'm queer, we get a lot of negative messages online. We get a lot of homophobic comments. We get all that kind of stuff all over. And it's really important to pick your battles and choose them. I'm 40 years old, so I am a jaded old lady. So it doesn't bother me, and I don't care what people say. Nothing will get under my skin. So whatever. But make sure that you're trying to only engage or mostly engage with the positive comments, because those are the people that matter. Those are the people that are coming to your shows. They're the ones buying your merch. They're the ones that are spreading your message. And don't bother with like all the negative crap over there, because it doesn't matter. They just want attention. So just make sure that you're spending most of your time with the people who actually care about you, as opposed to the trolls over here that don't actually care and just want to get some sort of validation from you responding to them. It's really important.
Well, and that's the thing is anyone, whether a positive or a negative interaction, anyone that's contacting you is trying to bring you to a level. The negative comments, the haters are trying to bring you down a level below them. The positive people are trying to bring you up. And that's the thing is you got to surround yourself with the positive people. And it's hard sometimes. I get it. I fight it every damn time I leave the house. But to just you got to let it roll off, man. Maybe it comes with age too. I know that. Like, I'm pushing 50. I got a grandson now. I'm seeing the world through his eyes, and it's like it takes too much energy to interact or reply to some of this stuff. And I can't imagine what you go through, and knowing what you go through with the messages and stuff. I'm so glad that you're still open and have your stuff, because that's how I contacted you, was just cold call and just blindly message you on Facebook Messenger. And now you're here on my show, and I'm so thankful for that. I appreciate you. I appreciate what you do. And please don't let anything ever change you, man. You are just badass. You kick ass, man. I just off topic, but you're awesome. And I'm just like stoked fanboy here having you on today. This is really cool.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I consider myself pretty down to earth, and the fact that people out and are fans of the things I create is like still kind of a mind-blowing thing to me, that people all over the world could be listening to my music. I'm like, what? How is that possible? But so it's just cool, you make art, you like do these things that really matter to you, and people are listening, and that's just really damn cool to think about, that you could be changing people's perspectives that really look up to you, and you could be really inspiring people. When I was a kid, when I was growing up listening to music in the 90s, there were so many artists that I looked up to, and they kind of shaped the way that I was interacting with the world. And thinking that I could be doing that to someone else is just so cool. Like, don't downplay how cool that is, that you can influence people and are really special in some way. So I can't get over that sometimes. I just think about it. I'm like, how is this possible that I'm doing this?
Well, I mean, you're a total package, though. I'm one of those people. I love art in all forms, whether it's paintings, it's music, it's the written word, movies, whatever. And when my art and music and theatrics collide, I'm my happiest. And whether it's just listening to your music or watching video of you, whether it's on stage or just having fun talking to the camera, you've got such a great vibe. Even when you're angry, it's still fun. Like I don't know how you do it. Even when you're up there and it's not the happy songs, it's still fun, because it shows how important this is to you and how much you love it. I mean, it comes out in your music, and obviously the fans see that, I mean, or you wouldn't have got voted best punk band in Chicago. I'd love to actually see the number of how many punk bands in Chicago there are. It's a small community, but there's a lot of bands. And I mean, your love for what you do and the person you are, it comes through. And I'm just really happy for you. I'm sorry. I just keep getting off track here. It's great to see you getting, the recognition you deserve and the spotlight that you deserve.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. That's very sweet of you.
And like, a big, like you said, it's helped the Chicago Reader thing is helping you book more gigs and stuff like that. What advice do you got for people that, how do you do that? I mean, here in the Midwest, it's surprising. Up in here in Wisconsin, I know down Northern Illinois too. Print paper, especially entertainment, it's still a big way to promote your band. It's still a big way. There's a lot of people that still pick up the paper, the free, whether it's the Messenger or what it is, and see who's playing where, because it's free, it's easy, and a lot of people don't know how to get that attention. What advice do you got to, how do you get into the local scene more and make those connections and contacts?
Yeah, I guess it's depends on really what your goals are. So the dailies or the monthlies or the free readers, whatever your city has, those have been around a long time, and most of them are kind of dwindling, unfortunately, because I do love the print papers. Most of them are online too, of course,
Mm-hmm.
so you can always read about that online. I haven't picked one up for a while,
It's not
honestly.
this. It's not
But
the same though. It's not the
yeah,
same.
yeah. Well, the thing is with those, and you can I'm sure you can relate. back in the day, you would grab a free paper, look at the listings, and be like, I want to go to this and this and this. Oh, what's that band? They're playing with this group. Oh, maybe I should look them up and see what they're all about. People don't really do that anymore. So, um, but the thing is about those dailies and the people that are writing for the dailies, those people are within the music scene. So it's a really important community of people to actually be a part of. And those people generally are super passionate about it. They're probably part of like the free radio stations that are in the, or the independent radio. Um, and they're the journalists that are writing about the bands that they think are cool in the scene. So, and those are also the people that are probably coming to the shows because they're so entrenched in the music scene. So get to know those people, like look at the names and maybe you'll be introduced to one of them at some point. Email them if you have a release coming out and say, okay, we're Beverage and the Drinks. We have this new single coming out and we would love if you would at least listen to it. And if you like it, maybe write it up. So don't be scared to do that. But whenever you're getting in touch with someone, make sure that you have something to say. Like, don't just be like, "Oh, I'm Bev. How are you?" You know. So make sure that you actually have like an item for them to to review or listen to or do. Invite them to a gig. Tell them you'll put them on your list and ask them to come to a show and just review it if they want, or just come and be a fan. Um, so getting into that aspect of the music scene is one thing, but then figuring out how to promote yourself via like social media is a whole different beast because that's more fleeting, but it also leads to bigger things in the long run, I think, at least in this day and age. So trying to figure out how to really capitalize on getting hyper local fixation in the social media sphere is just as important as getting those real life connections within the like print media. Um, so doing like hyper focused social media posts all about Chicago or all about a specific club or um, a specific event that is happening in Chicago. It's also really important to engage your fans in a way that it makes them it makes them kind of like personally attached to the project. So doing something like, we have new merch coming out. What color shirt should we print this on? And put a poll on your Instagram and have people vote on it and print your new merch on whatever wins. Like that is really important because number one, it's like a focus group in some ways. Like more people will buy the thing that they vote for probably. And number two, it kind of gives your audience the ability to engage with you more personally. And that just makes everyone kind of feel better, including myself. I love it when we actually get votes or we get poll results that kind of turn into real life things because it's really important. And it's just cool that there's some sort of fan interaction and ability to put out physical products with that input. So I don't
Well,
know.
yeah, as a fan, I love that too. It's important to be a part of something bigger than yourself, you know, and that's why when you get to have a band that puts up a poll or like, hey, this is what we're thinking about. What are your guys' thoughts? You're going to get the feedback. They're going to be excited about it, whether their idea was the right one or not. They're going to keep following it. And just from the marketing standpoint, you're getting more engagements. And now your stuff's going to start showing up in their feeds more too because they're commenting and because they want to be a part of that. So it's a win-win because it helps you as an artist because you get to make those connections, that, you know, because
Yeah.
they're a part of this decision now too. But then also as the marketer and salesman that you got to be the other 50% of the time, it's helping you out also. So and like
Yeah. Yeah.
and like you had mentioned too, with the social media now, it's important, even especially for local music scenes. Get on Facebook groups, and every area has got a Facebook group about what bands are playing. And there's one for the fans or the venues, and there's usually a Facebook group about musicians about, hey, this is where I'm playing, or hey, do you know where I can play and utilize those. I mean, of course, you could end up talking to someone that lives 3 blocks away and never know it, but that's the world we live in now, too. But yeah, get on the Facebook groups are just invaluable. What I was a social media manager for a couple music venues, and that was half my job was interacting with Facebook groups. That was half of what I did, because that was better than posting our own stuff on our own page, even, because how many people are going to see that, and then you get to build those connections. You get to make those connections and introductions to people that are, there's producers, there's independent label owners, there's venue owners, there's other artists, there's sound guys. Everybody needs to know a sound guy. If you're in a band, you need to know a sound guy, because there's going to be a time you don't have one, or the venue doesn't. You got to figure out what to do. Same with like lighting guys. You got to make those connections, and those local groups are great. And like you had said before, though, when we first started talking, you got to get out there and you got to be a fan too. Because if you don't go see anybody, if you want to make a good local connections, and you want all the local people to come see your band, they're not going to come see you if they've never seen you at another show.
Yeah.
Because, do as I say, not as I do. No, if you want to be part of a scene and get those fans to interact and come to your shows, you got to get out there and go to their shows too. Because like I said, half of them are probably in bands too, and then you're doing that, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. You're building those connections, and then you get those connections, because what's better, especially for a punk band, than finding a band that you like to do a split 7-inch with?
And it's always kind of like, especially if you're a new band, it's really important to make those connections and go see groups that you might want to play a show with. I also want to mention that sometimes people in this industry think of the term marketing as like a bad word.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels kind of like gross sometimes to be like, oh, I'm marketing my band. But for me, it's really nothing more than trying to push my thing that I am so incredibly passionate about out to as many people as possible. And there's a way to genuinely do that without being kind of gross about it. So making sure that your message is very genuine and you care about what you're doing, which I hope you do as a musician. And also, like for a band like us, ours also has like a political aspect to it. And it's really important to show people how important that is to you. So I'm not just kind of the face of this band. I am also out in the streets making sure that my message is being heard, and we're making change, and we're supporting people in our community in ways that maybe other groups aren't doing. So I love what I do, and I want more people to kind of understand who we are and why we do it. So putting that into like a marketing aspect isn't a bad word to me. It just kind of means that more people are going to hear it and more people are going to care about it. And maybe more people will be able to push that message out, and others might change their opinions on certain aspects of the world that I live in. So just wanted to put that out there, that marketing does not have to be a bad word in any way. Well, it's just the way that you do it.
Yeah, see, I couldn't agree with you more. Like, that's why this podcast exists. Music and marketing goes hand in hand. It's not selling your soul anymore like it used to be. With social media, and just computers in general, you can produce, release, promote, and distribute your own music without talking to anyone else. If you can literally do, one person could sit down in their basement and do an entire album all on their own with no help. There's so much access nowadays that you can market, you get to do it on your own terms. There's no reason your marketing can't be as creative and mean as much to you as the art you're creating either. That marketing can be art, take some time and have some fun doing those flyers, or, put your heart into a fun promo video. I mean, it doesn't have to, like, it's not a dirty word. You're not selling your
Hmm.
soul anymore. I mean, there's so much fun. I have as much, it's who I am though. I have as much fun marketing stuff as I do creating. Cause to me, for me, there's just as much creativity going into it. I mean, even for these
Yeah.
podcasts, I sit down and I research and I write and I like, everything can be fun if you do it right and you put your heart into it. It's just like no, the way you phrase it. Thank you. Yes, marketing is not a dirty word. Especially if you can use it not just to promote yourself, but a good message and try to help
Hmm.
other people with it. And when that's who you are, it's not like you're selling out or pandering either. This is just
Yeah.
who you are as a person. It just happens to be a good message to get across. And it's awesome to see what you do. I'm so happy for you getting the recognition you deserve. And I'm so glad you're able to come on. We're kind of running out of time here, but do you got
Great.
any last words for artists that are looking to build that local following?
I think just the main takeaway I think is probably just really believe in what you're doing and care about it. And another thing that a lot of people in this industry kind of worry about is being like too humble about it. If you really believe in the music that you're making, you're spending so much time on this. Like you rehearse, you write, you've spent 20 years learning how to play the guitar or whatever. Like, don't be humble. Like, put that out there. And if nobody hears it the first time, put it out there again. Do it again and again and again. Because a lot of times people are never gonna start caring about something until like the third time they see it. So if you're putting out the same thing and like a kind of just like a little tweak of it in a different way, maybe those people that saw it the first time and didn't turn the sound on will turn the sound on this time. Maybe the third time they'll click the link to go watch the full video or whatever. So just don't be too worried about kind of oversaturating. Don't like go crazy, but just don't be like don't undersell yourself because what you're making is probably important and it sure as hell is important to you. So try to get as many people to hear it as possible. Why not? I mean, what are you going to lose? So that's kind of like my takeaway and what I've kind of been able to understand over the years is that nobody's going to be mad at you for trying to get you to listen to my music. Like nobody cares really. And whenever they start to care, that's what matters. So that's kind of my takeaway from being in this industry for so long and kind of where I'm going now. Um, a few other things. I'm happy to kind of promote myself a little bit if you want me to at this point, but
Yeah. What do you got what
okay.
do you got coming up that we could try to help you out with?
Great. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, this is going to be a really big year for the band. So, our last album came out in 2022. So, it's been quite a long time since we've had new material. And we're currently recording our new album, full LP, that should be out in the end of this year, maybe fall, maybe winter. We'll see. And our first singles for it are likely out at this point. First one's coming out mid-April, and then the second one comes out in late May for all of our Pride Month gigs and here in Chicago and around the country. Um, we have some Chicago gigs coming up in June. We play a few of the festivals. We play Anderson Mill Midsummer Fest. We play Chicago Pride Fest. We'll be playing Wicker Park Fest this summer in Chicago, and then a few other things that haven't been fully confirmed. Um, so yeah, check out our new single. They should be out soon. They should have video components to them. They'll be on all the streaming sites. One of the biggest things that artists these days really need are, unfortunately, streaming numbers. So one of the things that club owners and promoters and talent buyers look at as soon as your information comes to them, they'll look you up on Spotify and see how many monthly listeners you have, which is a kind of not a great part of our music culture these days to depend on an artist's worth on that. But you know what? It's a reality. So one cool thing that you can do is just add artists to playlists. You can uh, add them to your favorites. You can follow them on Spotify. That really helps out. And the more people that do that, the bigger a band can become, which is really great. So do that for us. And then we'll have a bunch of other stuff coming up this summer. So just follow us on all social media. It's always at either Beverage and the Drinks or at Beverly Rage is my personal accounts.
All right. Well, thanks again for coming on. I'm so glad we were able to work out a time and stuff. And this has been awesome. I definitely need to have you back on because I think we could do another hour just on branding or just shooting the shit too. I think so.
Sure. Sounds great.
All right. Well, Beverly, thank you for coming on. And everybody, thanks for watching and listening. And we'll catch you later.
See you later.
It's me, Beverly Rage, better late than never.